And we're back. Here we go. So I came up with a little handout here. This is, if you were watching the video before, we did the arpeggios, and then I gave you some ideas kind of to show you how to incorporate arpeggios with other notes to kind of start coming up with more ideas. This was a different approach I wanted to come up with, was the idea of learning the blues and getting material from learning actual jazz blues melodies. So we're going to have one C Jam Blues, Bags Groove, Sunny Moon for Two, Blues in the Closet, Now's the Time, and finally Tenor Madness. So we're going to go one at a time here. And I know a lot of these blueses aren't normally in B flat, but since we're starting to work in the key of B flat, one, we're learning jazz melodies, which is great. So if you ever do a jam session, you'll have like 7 blues melodies that you can call, which is helpful, in case somebody does call something other than, the more tunes you know, the better is what I'm getting at. But also, it's great for material. We think of like material as coming from like a book or like transcribing a solo, but a surprising amount of jazz language can be just learned from like playing the melodies of famous tunes in the jazz world. So anyway, I feel like I'm talking it to death here. So let's jump in. Let's get in and play. So the first one is C Jam Blues. This is by Duke Ellington, and I know it's supposed to be in C major, but we're in B flat today. So let's get to it. 1, 2, 3, and. You play this 2 more times. Last time. Cool. So I'm going to play this over our little our backing track just so you can get an idea. So this is what you would call a riff melody or a riff head. We kind of talked about it in the other video, but the idea here being it's a small amount of repeated material that basically builds up the melody. So if a typical blues is 12 bars being measures, so 12 measure blues, we have a 4 measure idea. So 12 divided by 4, hence 3 times. So, okay. Here's C Jam Blues. 1, 2, 3. So it starts on the 5th note. The 5th note of the scale, right? And then lands on the root. Back to the handout there. So that's a good starting point. And that's worth your time, especially just kind of getting that, establishing that sense of, the root is obviously the most important note of any key you're going to play in. But, you can make a very good case that the second most important note is the 5th. Right? 1, 5. Think of all those bass players on country gigs and blues gigs and stuff. 1, 5, 2 important notes. Power chords. That's the 1 to the 5 being played together. So, definitely worth checking out. All right, so let's go to Bags Groove. This one normally is in F, but let's play it in B flat. It's good practice to take melodies that we know and learn them in different keys. It's a great way to work on our technique. It's a great way to get these timeless melodies into our ears. And, the whole idea is like taking stuff through 12 keys is it makes this disappear, or, whatever your instrument is, you're not thinking about how to like play the instrument. You're just thinking of an idea and you're going. Well, a great way to accomplish that is taking a melody and taking it through different keys. So let's do it. So Bags Groove. 1. So it starts on the root, goes up to the 5th, and then it plays down the minor pentatonic scale. So a 1, 2, 3. play that with the backing track. One, two, a 1, 2, 3. It's a riff melody, right? So 4-bar idea, we repeat it 3 times, and you have a song, you know? It's great. So, all right, on to the next one. We did this in the last video, but why not? You know, in case you didn't see it, let's play Sunny Moon for 2. So like Bag's Groove, it's a melody that's, oh, sorry about hitting the mic there. It's basically it's the minor pentatonic scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. I'm going to keep moving along. So here's a new one. So this is a cool melody idea. So everything here so far has been like 1, 5. I'm going to change the screen here so it doesn't cover up. So this goes from the root to the third. So, you know, we were talking about like the root's the most important. 5th is probably a good strong candidate. The only one that would compete for it is probably the major third, you know. That creates a triad, right? So this goes. So basically it's a triad, but with adding the 4 kind of interspersed in there. We would call that like a sus sound. Now when it goes to the next chord, this is not purely a riff melody. It keeps the same rhythm, and it's really close. You just change 1 note. So now the third is going to go to a minor third. And it just does that for 2 measures, and then it goes back to B flat. So without getting too heavy into the theory side, because I didn't want this to become so much about theory, I want this to be more about learning these melodies, and the melodies will teach you the theory intuitively. We can always talk about the theory afterwards, but I want to get us playing. So if we're looking at, you know, real quick, that E flat 7, that's why we want to change that B note. Because the D flat, that. So B flat 7 normally would have a B in there, right? When I go to E flat 7, that B turns into a D, I'm sorry, the D turns into a D flat. So that's where that's coming from. All right, I'm going to play that melody along with the play along, and then we'll move on to the next guy. 4. And you play the first 4 bars. Didn't feel like right. Can't talk and play at the same time. You know, just to save space, you know, I could have just rewritten the first 4 bars, but this really is the main idea, and I just wrote this here just so you know that those 2 measures, that's where you change 1 note, but really close to like playing the exact same idea, so I would still consider this a riff head. All right, let's get into another one. So this one's called Now's the Time. This one goes 5. If you listen to the Charlie Parker recording of this, he'll kind of slide up into the C note there, or the second note of the scale. could also play it plain. There's nothing wrong with that. Ooh, what's going on there? So it goes down to E flat, concert E flat, right? But that's going to be the 4 chord. And then it goes to an E natural. Now this is going to play really nicely with the play along that we have right now. If you notice over here, what do you know? You got an E flat and then an E diminished. Going back, this is a common modification of a simple blues. So you'll really hear that when we play along with you play along with this. You'll hear how those melody notes match those chords. Let's see, now going back to, so we did the first 6 bars goes, let's get to where you see my guitar here. Now, if you go and check out the recording, they put what's called a turn. It might be notated like this, something like that. Hold on a second. Let me look that up so I'm teaching you right here. All right, so I found it. So there's kind of 2 fonts that you'll see this, and this is kind of more the classical style. I don't know if you can see my mouse. I wish I could make this bigger. Let me see if I can make it bigger. It kind of freaks out when I try to do that, and it gets a little grainy. Oh boy, sorry guys. So that's getting really specific. That's kind of getting out. So there you go, written. So there you go. Those are kind of 2 examples of a turn. In jazz font, it'll look kind of like more like this, kind of like a squiggly line like that. So all that means is that when we go back to our melody, I kind of, I guess I did neither one. I'm so used to not doing handwritten charts that I'm a little rusty on this. But you have like a, so if you go and see it written out, it would be that D flat. I go up to E flat and then quickly down to D flat and then B flat. So without the turn, it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4. With the turn. Without it. With it. So if that sounds like fun, you want to work that out, great. I'll play it twice with the turn and once without it. So here we go. See if I can get that all in there for you. Go back to our play along. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Without the turn. All right, cool. One more to go. So as you can see, these melodies kind of get more progressively challenging as we go along. The last one is Tenor Madness, which is kind of like Blues in the Closet, where you play around with this idea of like a natural third. So So that's good to be able to hear those differences. This one does a similar idea. This one is kind of probably the trickiest of all of them. It's good for you to kind of have this, to start introducing this idea. Now we're getting kind of into the bebop. I would consider this a bebop line where you're really starting to kind of use chromaticism and like basically enclosure, basically targeting certain notes and dressing them up with chromatic notes. So this probably would have gotten read a lot better if I made this into a B natural. Oh well, maybe future generations will benefit once I fix this chart. But maybe the C flat isn't so bad. But so if you think about it, this is kind of like what happens a lot in jazz. Is you'll have like the basic idea, like the road markers are like you want to go with this. Starts on the second note, goes down chromatically to the seventh note of the scale because we're in B flat, so C down to A. But then there's all these ways that we can use arpeggios. We can use like this would be an arpeggio here. Right here, this is what you call an enclosure. You see where your target note is A. B flat is like one note above it, and then you go to the note below it and then come up chromatically. So it'd probably be easier to read if that was a G sharp. You could see it better. But all that means is so I would say this is definitely the most challenging of all of them, but it's a great melody to know, and it's a good gateway into kind of, start playing a little bit more, just expanding your vocabulary. So, all right, let's hear this melody. Tenor Madness. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time. So there you go. That's how many melodies was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 melodies. And, oh, you know what? I take it back. There's one more to go. How about it? I thought there was 7. All right, going back to the idea of the arpeggio. So this is more based off the triad. We're adding a 6th. So like if I'm in the key of B flat, that's the 5th note, the root, or 1, 3, 5, and then this is 6. But everything else here is generally based off the arpeggio until the end. There's a little ending lick. But we'll worry about that when we get there. So this is how this one sounds. We go to, it starts on the 5th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Then you go up to the E flat. All right, I can't talk and play at the same time. Give me one more shot here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So that's kind of a cool thing. There's a thing sometimes we can do in this chord progression is when it goes to the 4 chord, you have E flat, and then it might go to E flat minor before it goes back to B flat 7. So that's what those G sharps right there, they're kind of implying E flat minor. So right on the 4 chord. You can tell which one. I haven't practiced that much. Because this is one I'm trying to kind of learn as well. I've been wanting to add it to my vocabulary. So give me one more shot. If that goes well, then we'll play it along with the recording, and then we'll be good. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Three, four. Can't play tonight. All right, let's try it with the backing track. One, two, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Well, I hope you did better than me. All right, here we go. Second time around. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time. See if I can get it right twice in a row. Hallelujah. I heard the joke the other day. It's like, they call me one take Hornbeck in the studio because out of 99 tries, you get one take that actually works. I heard that from Tom Bukovac or something like that. It's a good joke. All right, so hopefully some of that is helpful. Kind of like akin to the idea that we were doing before this, where this is not about I want you to make a career out of learning all these melodies, although they all are good melodies to learn. It's about just getting some ideas, so whenever we play in class or whenever you jam with your friends on the blues, you can take any little snippet of these melodies and develop them. You can kind of mess around with the rhythm, maybe change a note or two. Just think of it as material. Think of it as language. And once you kind of get it under your fingers, get it into your instrument, then try experimenting and evolving those ideas. So hopefully that helps. Any questions, shoot me an email. Otherwise, see you next time. Have a good one.